The main plot is that Hisao, he was a normal student until one day during winter he actually had a heart attack and he collapsed to the ground. Then he actually had to go to the hospital um, and he was diagnosed with cardiac dysrhythmia, meaning that his heart could either go very fast or really slow at random times. So now he has to go to a different school where it's a school full of the physically disabled. Despite his disability, he still find friends and maybe love. This is the main character of the story. He was diagnosed with cardiac dysrhythmia, meaning his heart will be too fast or too slow. And because of this, he has to take pills daily just to make sure his heartbeats go through normally. Throughout the story, he finds new friends or new friends or relationships, and he helps the relationships go on whether they work out or not. This is Emi Ibarasaki. She is the star of track runner of the school, even though her legs were amputated because of a car crash. Her attitude is very cheery and happy, even though she has no legs. Although it's a facade because she hides it because of the sadness of her father passing at a young age. She also hangs out with Oren, which is something. This is Hanako Ikazawa. At a very young age, there was an accidental house fire that took both her parents, and because of this, she has a large scar about half her body, and she's very antisocial. Due to the traumatic experience, she actually runs away from any sort of social contact, physical, or any advances, with the exception of her best friend Lily. This is Lily Sotelo. She was born blind, and even though she's blind, she's very kind and she's very smart and the best friend to Hanako, which she is. She created a kind of mother-daughter kind of bond with her, and because of that, Hanako trusts her a lot more. She is very calm and collected, and sometimes she can be very protective. This is Rin Tezuka, and due to a birth problem, her arms had to be amputated just to be birthed normally. Due to this, she uses her feet to do almost anything, but even though she has no arms, she is a very talented painter, and she talks about very philosophical things about like life, world, and the universe, to the point where she can get completely lost in it at random times. Because, but then she says everything on her mind very bluntly, depending on the person she talks to. This is Shizune Takamichi. Although she is a deaf mute, therefore she can't really hear or say anything. But then, even though she is she is the class representative, even though she has disabilities. She is very optimistic and will go above and beyond just to be the best of the best. And she is a very leader type person. And if there's something wrong, she will usually take the lead before to doing something. But then, because she is very forceful, people fear her, even though she is a very fair and just leader. This is Misha Mikado. She's the interpreter to Shizune, and she has no physical disabilities, but then she stays there to be the translator to her and sometimes she actually goes out of her way to go help out. She's a very playful, hyper character, but then she sometimes she won't pull a punch, meaning that she would say things without thinking through it. If you read the story very carefully, there actually be very special messages, such as for Isao, even though he has a heart problem, which a heart would be love, even though he has that heart problem, he can still find love. Emmy, having no legs, even though she's happy, she can't run away from her past. But then, because of Isao, she can finally teach herself to run her life at a steady pace. For Hanako, the scars remind her of her traumatic experience, which some of us have scars in one way or another. But then with Isao, she learns to forget them and move on. For Lily, even though she is blind, she can see that Isao can slowly loves her over time. With Ren, her disability to grasp with her arms could be connected to the fact that she can't grasp onto the ideas of others, but unless she listens thoroughly. And Shizune, even though she's deaf, she's very verbose, meaning that she would explain things in more of the words than one or needed. There are actually 220 stages in the story, meaning that if you like 10 to 5 panels, 17 acts, 4 different stories, and each It's very choice driven, meaning that depending on the choice you make, you can choose whether which route you're gonna follow, and it's about 5 to 10 hours long to finish one route. So it's a very long book to read. It's a good book. Some interesting points about it. It's not a usual love story. It's not boy meets girl and then they go out, but instead he slowly goes to them and learns more about them before both of them becoming mutual. There are different endings between each story, so there are multiple times you can read it.
Mark, I gotta cut you off here at 5
Alright.
minutes and 40 seconds.